If you've ever felt like being sensitive or intuitive or deeply feeling that somehow you have a flaw for that, like it's something to manage, fix, or actually apologize for, I want you to sit with this conversation that we're going to have today because my guest has spent his whole life learning that the opposite is true. My guest today is J.V. Jackson, and he's really kind of a magical being because he grew up in the remote blue mountains of East Central Oregon, where as a child, he played with stones for hours, studying them, meditating with them. When his parents later started a gem faceting business, Jay became a master faceter by his late teens. And what he discovered even then was that if he slowed down enough to really listen to a stone, the design would reveal itself. That single thread, listening instead of forcing, has quietly run through his entire life since. Today, Jay is a senior licensed Reiki master teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training. He's a former ICU and hospice nurse, a widowed gay man, and the founder of Illum Reiki Academy. He teaches Usui. I knew I was going to hammer that. Usui, which I can't wait to figure out what that is. You're going to tell us what that is. Usui and Holy Fire 3 Reiki, Holy Fire Karuna Reiki, Animal Reiki, and Reiki Crystal Healing, helping sensitive, spiritual, intuitive people build confidence and a deeper relationship with their own inner light. His work is rooted, you guys, in the wisdom that Reiki is not something we perform. So when you go to a Reiki session, it's not something that they are performing. It's something that we listen to. We have to learn to listen to it, to trust it, and embody the little moments of everyday life. Through his personal journey of grief, spiritual practice, and healing, he's come to believe that we're not broken. Healing is not about becoming someone else. It's about returning to light, wisdom, compassion, and the guidance that is already within us. Jay, thank you so much for feeling my vibration and receiving my frequency of wanting to talk to someone about Reiki. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Thanks, Charlotte. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to be here.
Yeah. So,
because Reiki is so so passionate for me because what it's done and transformed in my own life is just.
For people that don't know what Reiki is, though, what is Reiki?
That's a great question. So Reiki has stems from a Japanese technique, and it's not an ancient technique. It's actually was discovered in the early 1900s, 1920s, prior to World War II in Japan. And the Usui was the founder of Reiki, and he had this, he wanted to receive some enlightenment in his life. He just knew that his life was meant for something more. And he had spent years in meditation and practicing. He had studied all kinds of different worlds, religions, esoteric studies. And so his master teacher that he was learning from said, well, you've been doing these meditations and you still want to achieve this. Perhaps you might want to engage in this process called Anshin Ritsume. The Anshin Ritsume was a practice where you went up into a sacred mountain for 21 days, 3 weeks in fasting and prayer. And you had to be willing to die to receive enlightenment. And he was that committed that he wanted to receive enlightenment. So he went up to Mount Kurama in Japan, which is a very sacred mountain to many different religious belief systems in there. And he was up there for 21 days. He fasted and he prayed. There's probably, ritualistic baths, opening up your crown chakra and things like that. He may have participated on the mountain. But at the end of that 21 days, he had like a bolt of lightning come through him and he fell unconscious. And the next morning he wakes up, and instead of being emaciatedly weak, he was full of energy. And so he comes running down the mountain and he stubs his toe. And, most of us would say a swear word, but he grabbed his foot with his hands and he felt the energy coming from his hands, and the pain and discomfort in his foot was instantly gone. He goes, oh, this gift I've just been given must be a healing gift. And so then he just started working with spirit and the energies and developing it. And so that's kind of where it started. So it's a healing modality. What's wonderful about it is that it has no specific religion. There's multiple threads of different religious beliefs in it, but practitioners and teachers of Reiki from a multitude of different religions work with Reiki. So I have a great friend who is Hindu that teaches Reiki. I have Jewish friends that teach Reiki and Muslim teachers, and we all speak the same language. And that's so cool. That's we can beautiful. All sit around and we all have fun, and we can all speak the same language of love and peace. And so when I'm, as a practitioner, am working with energy in a healing session, my client isn't receiving energy from Jay. They're receiving it from the divine. I just get to sit and back, and the Reiki energy is what's facilitating those vibrations to come in to do the healing work. And how it heals, it's not like a faith healing where you just go and healed. It doesn't.
You're not John of God.
I am not John of God. I wish sometimes, but I don't want his dark side either.
Yeah.
But, right. But what Reiki does is there is, and in Japanese, you have what's called byoki, which is negative energy or blocked energy, and jinki, which is healthy energy. And so when I'm giving a Reiki session, Reiki's going through and finding the byoki, that negative energy or the blocks, and it's moving that out, just moving it out. And then it's enhancing the aura jinki that's in the person, illuminating that energy so to help put the person into a healing state. So people who, have some chronic issues, it takes multiple sessions, and they can do sessions on themselves as well. And so that's kind of the basis. It's very peaceful, quiet, and, there's many of us that grew up in traditions where I needed to show my worth by being really demonstrative in the session. And I used to be part of that because I was kind of trained and learned that way. But the more I've worked with the energies, no, I need to quiet down. I need to listen to spirit and the divine elements that are there, and just allow the energies to go. And for me to get out of the session, I used to read everything that was going on and try to interpret it and read it back to my client. I've learned that, no, I just need to get out.
I was going to ask if you read the energy. When you read the energy from them, a lot of times that energy kind of takes on with you instead of you just being divine
just
love.
Being present.
Yeah, being divine love and being present and not trying to tell them whatever is coming up.
What I determined for me was that I'm receiving similar messages, but it's my interpretation of the message for the client. And so my filters are not the same filters as my client. Right. So I may get it wrong. Now, there are times that I am divinely guided to make a statement or say something. I had this one experience. So I also did massage therapy. And so I would combine massage and Reiki. And this particular lady was pregnant. So I was doing a prenatal massage for her. And I worked with her mom in the hospital. And this was in Park City, Utah. And this young lady had met some handsome guy up on the ski slopes in Utah who was Australian. And she falls madly in love, and they go back to Australia and get married. And then, of course, later on, she becomes pregnant. And then during that pregnancy, she starts to get have issues. And of course, she's pregnant, and that causes its own issues. And so she comes back home. And so I'm giving this prenatal massage. Well, I was doing this massage and doing some Reiki with it, and I kept seeing this ruby red energy in the corner of the room. I usually am not real visual. I don't see a lot, but I could see this ruby red energy in the corner of the room, and it wasn't going away. It wasn't. I was kind of blinking, looking, and no, it was still there, and it was very prominent, and it wanted to be known. And I didn't know her very well. I knew her mom a lot, but I didn't know her that well. But I just felt prompted. Yes, I need to say something. So I just finally said, well, I kept seeing this ruby red energy in the corner of the room. And she said, oh, well, the name of the baby is Ruby.
Oh my God.
and I normally would have never have described a red energy as ruby red.
Right.
And it just was, and she was born redheaded.
Oh my gosh.
Fiery little girl. And so that just showed me, I am in sync with things. And then there are times I've been prompted. I've seen things, and no, you're not supposed to mention it. You just get to witness and be there. And, but yes, transmitting love is really, that's how the healing work comes through, is through love. So I also had one of the teachings of Reiki is that Reiki can do no harm. So I can't do something. I can't curse you with Reiki. I can only use Reiki for healing work. And I had a coworker, and I think he was from Indonesia, but he looked Chinese, and a very handsome kid. And he comes up to me one day at work in the hospital, and he said, Jay, I hear you do that Reiki thing. And I said, well, yeah, Nick. And he said, well, I'm wondering if you can teach me some Reiki so I can get some dates with some of these girls over here. And I said, well, Nick, if Reiki's not going to participate if you have ill, thoughts about somebody else. And he goes, oh, darn. So Reiki can't hurt anything. You're not going to harm anything. I teach that I am not and conducting Reiki, I'm not replacing medical. I'm not telling someone to stop your antidepressant and go with Reiki or your hypertension medication. I will say Reiki can help with your hypertension, but you work with your cardiologist in lowering it through them. So that's kind of how I work.
And you don't have to be present with someone to do Reiki on them, do you?
So I do everything in a form similar to this. I do everything via Zoom.
Yeah.
So I do sessions via Zoom.
Yep.
But I don't even have to have a Zoom session.
Right. So, you can tap into their energy. You get a picture of them, and you're able to tap in to their electromagnetic field. Yep. And from there, you are giving your energy of love and light and source to them. Is that correct?
The divine's energy, not mine.
Right. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Divine energy, not yours.
And not only from a distance, but we can do healing for past issues. So we can send Reiki to the past and into the future.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
So sometimes, we're working with generational healing issues.
Right.
So we can go back to the source of a behavior that's been passed on by generation to generation and send Reiki healing to that source and then heal that across many different generations. Yeah.
Yeah. In my intro, you say that in this human experience, we're not broken. You are
Right. Yeah.
not broken.
We may
And
feel like we're broken. And yes, we do indeed feel that way at times.
yeah, don't we? Especially when there's grief or, something, the human experience can be very intense. And
And it's meant to be.
yeah, it is for our growth, right? For our
Yeah.
continual evolution of our soul and so what role can Reiki play in that, of that remembrance?
So it's important to just know that there is a divine presence in each one of us. That's for me to say there is that divine presence in each one of us. And we are worthy to accept it and to feel that divine presence and to feel that divine love that comes through each one of us. And by remembering that divine and then being able to tap into that divine wisdom and energy, we can do incredible and wonderful things. That was kind of one of my experiences I would have in the intensive care unit and working in the hospital. I had these experiences where I was working with some pretty nasty people. Not, people who had lived a really tough, hard life.
Mm.
And I had this one lady who was just, oh my gosh, just, a dark entity. You went walking.
A lot of pain.
A lot of pain. Exactly.
A lot of pain.
I was a charge nurse at that particular, in this unit, and she was causing a ruckus in that room and not allowing that nurse to start a new IV on her. And she was angry and mad. And, I get Papa Bear about my nurses, and I was going to go in there to intervene. And I walk into that room, and then through Reiki and through that presence that I carry with Reiki, it showed the divine love for that woman, even in all her flaws. And I could tell the divine loved her so much. And they were trying to hold her in so much love. And then all of a sudden, so then that just softened me. And I went and then I was able to listen. And come to find out, she had asked from a CNA a couple of hours earlier to get some ice chips. And they got called off to the unit to help with some other emergency. And she didn't get her ice chips. And she was mad and angry and acting out. And then instead of just telling her nurse that she needed ice chips, she was just being a pill. And so I was able to see that and understand that and resolve the issue. But it taught me so much about the divine and that the divine love is for each one of us. And then I had there was a patient that was right next to my room in the intensive care unit. And this patient was from the state prison system, late 30s, early 40s. He didn't have one prison guard in his room. He had two prison guards. Mm. His legs were shackled. His waist was shackled. His hands were shackled. He was unresponsive, intubated, actively dying. And even though he was actively dying because of whatever his background was, even his family was not allowed to come see him. And he wasn't my patient, but he was right next to my room. And we always help each other out because things get busy. And I remember going in there just to change out a bag of medication. And that same thing happened again. I could feel that divine love and light for that person. And I was going, my gosh, that must mean there might be some hope for me, that maybe the divine does love me. And so recognizing that the divine's love for us. Yeah. That's hard for a lot of us. So many of us are raised with the thought that divine is judgmental. Mm-hmm. And we're raised in those environments and have that belief system. Well, I've come to know the divine as extremely loving, caring, beautiful being who is there to help us and support us no matter where we're at in our life, no matter what we have done.
No matter what we have done.
Yep.
It is
And the thing,
always there for us and always available for love.
correct.
Yeah.
And so just holding that emotion into us, connecting with that divine love and knowing that divine love is there for us makes a huge difference in how we conduct ourselves and how we walk through our pain. Man, because some people do get a lot more hard knocks than other people. There's no question about it.
They definitely do.
And some of those people are extremely strong people and people who actually have some beautiful wisdom, and learning to appreciate those lessons and what they've taught us is an important element. So sometimes those hard knocks are blessings.
Yeah. And when you're in it, though, you really are like, this is,
I can't take much more.
I can't take much more. You know,
Yep.
it feels like a lot, especially if you're sensitive and you're intuitive and, you know, you feel like you're carrying all of this grief and you have these protective shields on you, you have old patterns, and it feels really intense sometimes for
Yep. And so
people.
one of the keys, because you hit on a little soapbox of mine, I want to say soapbox, is that we put on these shells, these protective layers.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many energy workers that will say, I'm protecting my energy.
Right.
But what I've learned is if I am protecting my energy, I'm limiting how much of that divine I can shine out. Instead of magnifying it out, I'm actually putting restrictions on it. And that actually makes me more vulnerable. And so, for me, to where I've come, I used to have severe anxiety, panic attacks, going to the emergency room thinking I was having a heart attack. Things were that bad. And Reiki was able to help me to learn and calm that all down so that it's not an issue. But part of my traumas from growing up and being young, I wanted to be invisible. Because if I was invisible, maybe the bullies wouldn't harass me that day. So I went through life trying to be invisible. Well, guess what? We don't shine divine light when we're invisible, do we? Mm-hmm. And so even now, I still have to work through those issues of trying to be invisible, or trying to evolve past that invisible and allow that light to shine out bright. So I believe that we can shine out bright enough that our energies all interconnect throughout the world, throughout the universe.
Yeah. You often say Reiki is not something that a practitioner performs, but something that they listen to. What do you mean by that?
Like I mentioned before, Reiki's not coming through me.
Right.
So it's not my energies that are intermixed with it. And so Reiki I'm just holding space for Reiki. I'm a conduit for it. And I'm just opening up those channels and allowing those channels to go through to the client. So, you'll hear someone say, oh, so-and-so is a powerful healer. You go, no, the divine's a powerful healer. And it's working really well through that person. So, that's kind of the difference. And there's also many people who feel the need to be really demonstrative in their sessions, with the type, to moving energy in and out. Mm-hmm. And so that is something that, yes, sometimes is beneficial when you're actually feeling it and feeling the need to do that. But I'm learning, for me personally, I need to slow down and just listen to the energy and just allow the energy to flow, and try not to get too involved in the healing work, because it's not my healing work. It's the divine's healing work. So that's really the biggest key. So like, for instance, when I'm doing acupressure and I was trained through massage school to work in all the meridian systems, just using a couple of fingers to access meridians, it would wear me out. Just using two fingers, because it was my energy that was intermixing with those two energetic points. With Reiki, it's not. It's not my energy at all. And so that's one of the huge benefits of being able to work with Reiki, is that if I'm doing it correctly, it's not exhausting for me.
Yeah. What's the difference between healing pain and like trying to bypass it or spiritually explain it away too quickly?
Well, that's two different questions.
Yeah, kind of.
So pain. So, pain is perception sometimes. And so Reiki can alter our perception. And so there have been studies done with Reiki on people who've had knee replacement surgeries, and it can be extremely effective in reducing the pain. And I would experience this when I worked in a orthopedic unit early on in my nursing career. And I would use Reiki on occasion when the family was accepting a Reiki, knew what I was doing. I had this one gentleman who was Samoan genetically, and he's from Hawaii. Him and his wife both, and he had both knees replaced at the same time, and extremely painful. In the last 10 years, they've made huge progress in this surgery, but he was in intense pain. And so we just did a little bit of Reiki on him, and he was asleep within 3 minutes, just boom. And he didn't require additional doses of pain medication other than just his normal scheduled pain medication. So it helps with the inflammation and the pain in the receptors and makes a huge difference. Then what was the second part of your question? Remind me on that.
The second part of the question is, instead of them trying to bypass the pain or spiritually explain it away, meaning going through the healing process, instead of people try to spiritually explain away their pain too quickly. I guess that's kind of where I'm going with that, because I think that we can heal ourselves. I believe that we can heal ourselves with Reiki. I have done that with myself by giving myself energy, divine light to each energy center or chakra, as you call it, or you can try to explain it away spiritually.
Yeah. So from a spiritual perspective, we can increase that good energy within us, and we're going to experience less pain. So someone who has a lot of negative energy within them, or blocked energy, are going to experience more pain. And it's not that they're intentionally doing this. It's just how they're experiencing the traumas that they've gone through. Have just created so much trauma that they have that. So people who have depressive disorders, they're scientifically are shown to have lower tolerances for pain than people who do not have any kind of depression, because those are using the same energies within the body, the same receptors that deal with pain also deal with depression. So again, with Reiki, we're going to be able to increase the jinki, the good energy, remove some of the negative energy. So I've seen people in the hospital who had no medical reason to decline, but medically they declined and died just because of the negative energy they had inside of them.
I was going to ask, is it their mind?
It's their mind and their thought and their belief system, their belief system. Yeah. About themselves, and what they've experienced in life. Then I've seen people who truly had a 2% chance of survival and then survive and have some form of meaningful life. Yeah. So one of my Reiki teachers, mentor teachers that I had just an incredible, incredible light being, and worked with the divine energies just in the most beautiful way. It was such an inspiration to me. And she worked herself and worked, and she ended up having a massive aneurysm. And she had a 2% chance of survival. And I would have told her husband and family that, maybe you need to let her go. But they Reiki'd her. They did crystal singing bowls and Tibetan singing bowls in the room. They had crystals in the room with her. And, she got out of the hospital. She had the trach removed, the peg tube removed. She was walking with a walker. She was communicating. She wasn't back to teaching like she was teaching, but she was still creating and still teaching, teaching his concepts. And it was just beautiful to see. And then several years later, then she had another stroke and then did eventually pass away. But it was just such a lesson that, here she had a 2% chance of survival. And but because she had been practicing and working with such strong energies, she's able to survive it. So it's just hard. It's hard to know. And then some of us are we're ready to make changes. Sometimes some people intuitively know. My father was just one of the most godly men I've ever met in my life. Just an absolute beautiful, beautiful soul. And he had a brain aneurysm, and he was shot in the back of the head with a rifle, a 22 rifle, when he was like 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
Never should have survived.
Right.
Caused problems in his vision center. He was blind. He could see. He was blind. He could see. But we had done advanced directives, and he knew that he would not want life-sustaining treatment if he needed to be fed by a tube feeding. Didn't want to go to a nursing home. Didn't want that. So then he had an aneurysm, and he was ready to go. His time was up. He was ready to go. And there was nothing wrong with that. And he declined really quickly. And the doctor said, I can't explain why he's declining. He shouldn't be declining. No, it's because he was needed on the other side. Yeah, he was ready, and he was needed on the other side. And so it ended up being a beautiful experience and being able to see that. So it's also just cool to know that there is something on the other side.
Yeah, there definitely is. You do a practice called the Light Within practice. Can you just guide us through that? Just to give us a short little snippet of that.
And this is just a snippet. Part of it is just, we have what's called the Reiki principles. And the Reiki principles are they call them 5 different principles for just living life. But the first aspect of that isn't actually a principle, but I think it is. And that is just to be present. So just for today. So being present just now. So we just need to pause. We need to take just a pause. Take a deep breath. And I just like to put a hand on your heart. Maybe it's your solar plexus. Some people, it's their throat like this. Whatever's most comfortable. So just place a hand on your heart, your body, wherever you feel comfortable, and then just listen. Just notice the sensations, those emotions that are inside of you. What's that quiet inner knowing that's inside of you? Listen. Now trust. Trust and discern that the divine light that's flowing through you, those feelings of love, compassion, that grounded energy, just take notice of it. And sometimes it's just a single little thread. Just allow it to shine a little bit brighter. And then with that inspiration, what's one little step that reflects the light, that wisdom, compassion that was received? What can you do? What's one step in your life that you can evolve that thread of energy to come out stronger, brighter in your intuition? So then that just kind of helps us to stop overthinking. I am ADD. I'm self-proclaimed ADD, and I have to stop overthinking. So I need to pause and just become present and stop overthinking to allow that divine to speak through me.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of us is the same way. We have so much noise in our life.
Yeah.
We have TVs, we have radios, we have podcasts like here, and we all have that,
We have
everything that
social
we've got going
media.
on. Social media, we're inundated with it constantly. And go outside, sit under a tree. Just pause with the divine. So I'm living here in Ecuador, and I'm surrounded by this beauty. I'm up high in the Andes Mountains, and I get to experience hummingbirds 365 days out of the year.
It's amazing.
And all these other birds and animals. And so when I'm connecting with that divine thread that's coming through me, those things that are around me all the time, I'm noticing them now. I notice them, and I see the divine light in those beings. And then that fully enriches my life as well. And it gives me more good energy, more positive thoughts. So just stopping, listening, finding the elements of truth that are coming through you, and then allowing them to shine out brighter.
That is so beautiful, Jay.
And simple
80,
and easy.
and it's a beautiful practice to just have every day. And I'm ADD too, and that's why I meditate.
It can become a superpower. So
Yeah.
anyone who's a little diverse, have some
Yeah.
some issues there, ADD, whatever, ADHD.
Yeah, all
It's
of it.
okay. And so for me to meditate, I give myself permission to do lucid dreaming.
I love lucid dreaming.
So I go into lucid dreaming, and I will find what's something that I'd like to see healed today. So during the Afghanistan conflict, I would just see healing taking place into that land. And I would focus on that because as ADD people, we can focus on things, but it's always not always the right thing. So, but I would just force myself to focus on something that was healing in nature, and then I would have a beautiful experience.
I love that. I love that. Oh, my dog. My dog, Sophie, is agreeing with that too.
Woohoo, yes.
Yes. And my dog, she's so funny. She loves being in here while I am doing a podcast. So I think that really resonated with her. Jay, thank you so much for joining me in this and sharing your guidance with us all. I think that we all have
You're welcome.
guidance to share with each other. And this was just, it was really beautiful. And you have such a beautiful presence about you. And whenever you were talking about Ecuador and seeing the hummingbirds all the time and just all of that, it made me think, I need to go and visit you in Ecuador.
There you go. I mean, it's like every other day, I'll have one come right out to my office window right here.
That is amazing.
Just look in the window, and I'm just going, I feel so blessed.
I mean, as you should, because that is a high frequency species. So
Very high, yep.
Yeah, I love them. So thank you so much for joining us. If people want to connect with you, how can they do that?
So my website's probably the easiest way, and that's just IllumineReikiAcademy.com.
Okay.
So Illumine, ILLUMINE, ReikiAcademy.com. And then that you can connect with me there. You can email me. So please feel free to email me if you have any questions. I'm always open. I even have opportunity for, like a 30-minute clarity call for, if you want to if there's something going on, is this something that'll benefit me, or is a class of, a part of my next part of my path. I'm always willing to explore those with you. And I'm not going to say, oh, you need to commit to anything. I don't even care if you go see another teacher or visit or another practitioner, because we're all here to help each other. And that's really kind of what I'm about. And that's why I love the collective guidance, is because we're all here to help each other
We're
evolve
all
and
here to
improve.
provide remembrance to each other because it's everything that's in our DNA and in ourselves that we have just forgotten. But this is ancient wisdom that is was here before we came here. So I love that. You guys, I'll have all of his information in the show notes. So if you want to connect with him, please do. And if you like this episode, please hit the like button, subscribe, share it with someone else. And I'm so grateful for you being here. Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Thank you.